Inamhoji ambaye ni mwenyekiti wa tume ya uchaguzi na mipaka hapa nchini, Bwana Wafula Chebukati. Hebu tuwasikize.
We don't agree that the commissioners are the ones who should decide who to procure from, when to procure, how to procure. Our role is limited to approving procurement plan, then getting a report on how procurement plan is implemented. To that extent, we have received report, we have asked questions where they are necessary, we have adopted when we are satisfied with it. So that is the extent to which we are involved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to respond to question with regard to the fact that none of the section 103 was applicable in the circumstances. And I want to state that the relevant section that we used was 103(2)(d), which states as follows: the procuring entity, having procured goods, equipment, technology, or services from a supplier or contractor, determines that additional supplies shall be procured from that supplier or contractor for reasons of standardization or because of the need of compatibility with the existing goods, equipment, technology, or services, taking into account the effectiveness of the original procurement in meeting the needs of the procuring entity, the limited size of the proposed procurement in relation to the original procurement, the reasonableness of the price, and the unsuitability of alternatives to the goods or services in question. That is the relevant section of the news. You note, Mr. Chair, that in 2013, we had deployed the use of technology in election. Specifically, we had biometric voter registration. We also had identification and resolution, which failed miserably in 2013. Now, system, we still have it, and this DVR system was provided by the same supplier or the vendor, OT Safran Mofo. For the purpose of compatibility and integration, the election law requires that we have seamless system that will basically consist of identification, verification, transmission. Those were the 3 points that actually the law required. And look at it, we already have a system which we had not disposed. DVR system is not the just system you see. We also have a back system which is the voter or registers of voter. It is on the basis of this that we say that since this vendor is the same person who provided us with the BVR system, and the technology, the law requires that voter registration, identification, and also results transmission must be integrated. That was the basis that we used to use this section 103, because you can see here we are talking about standardization. We already have a system that has already been provided for by OTMOFO, and therefore it was relevant for the Commission to go and procure from the same vendor. Then with regard to section 104, and the issue here was that section 104 requires negotiation, an ad hoc committee of negotiation to be formed. The Commission, and specifically the accounting officer, appointed a negotiation, an evaluation team, which also was a negotiation team. The law, the PPADA 2015 requires that the people, the same team that is doing the evaluation is the same team that is going to do the negotiation. And yes, the negotiation was done. There are minutes. There is also reports to that effect to show what was the initial price that they gave and what was the final price which was recommended to the Chief Executive Officer for approval. So that is the documentations are there, Mr. Chairman, to provide that.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't have them offhand, but we can
avail them.
Yes, we can be able to avail them, Mr. Chairman.
I'll be allowing Honorable Junet, then Honorable TJ Kajwang. In that
Can
order.
I finish? Because there are other questions that I have not addressed.
Please.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then on justifications of timelines, 2013. Yes, it is true the Commission was very aware from 2013 that the next general election was going to be in August, specifically 8th of August. And therefore, there was all reasons to prepare for this date. But when we were preparing for this, Mr. Chairman, you realize that we had our strategic plan, we had our election operations plan in place. We had our operational plans in terms of when are we going to procure and how we are going to procure. But again, also, the law is very, very clear in terms of when do you start the procurement process. You start the procurement process when you have the budget with you. And therefore, bearing all this in mind, you can only start when you have. So we started this process early, but before even the Commission came, we had started procuring, the process of procuring KIMS. So maybe the question as to whether the commission, the current Commission or the previous Commission needs to be addressed appropriately. But we say that in 2016 when we started the procuring process for KIMS. But because of court cases, which is beyond our control, we cannot say don't go to court, let us finish on time, because the public requires the technology to be there in place. So we started the open tendering process. It was not even direct procurement. We started with open tendering method, which is the default method. And we went and we reached up to a point whereby we only had one bidder, one vendor, who satisfied the requirement. Only one. So then it was going to be appearing to be competitive. One, we were to negotiate with that. So that process basically continued, but it was taken to court. PPRA actually ruled out that proceed with the negotiation. But again, also, there was no possibility that nobody else again was not going to court.
You made the point.
To stop the process.
You made the point, yeah.
Yeah. And therefore, because of that, and time was running out, and therefore the Commission had to make a decision to stop that process and say we're not going to proceed with PPRA, but we'll now go with direct procurement. And by that particular time, there was very little time because technology was supposed to be in place by April. We were talking about March.
Okay. Thank you.
Chairman, engage me. I was asking you, it is the Commission that terminated the previous contract, the KIMS kit, the previous electronic engagement contract. Is your Commission that terminated under these minutes? The one that you're using earlier before you brought the KIMS kit one, the one that you used latest. According to the minutes I've seen here, that the Commission terminated the previous electronic system that we had. Anyway, you can check. Now, go to minute number 175, special plenary meeting of the Independent Electoral Boundary, 6th floor, on Wednesday, 31st March 2017 at 7 a.m., early in the morning. Open that minute.
Do you have some copies? We only have a bundle here. Bring them out. We only have one bundle. One set.
You know, I'm sitting next to the chairman, so I have advantage.
Chairman, we agreed yesterday. We agreed yesterday that I will only bring you one set, Chairman, and we agreed.
But the timing was important. If they brought them early enough for us to photocopy them.
That's why I normally make this request early in advance so that we agree. and
for now, we
comply with that.
Okay.
Let's go to minute 175th special plenary meeting held on 31st of March 2017 at 7 a.m. Chairman, the CEO, minute 15.11. Are we together? You have the copy of the minutes here?
I don't have a copy of the minutes.
You can use this.
No.
These are another ones, yeah?
Yeah. Let's go.
You didn't even carry one copy.
Just read.
Yeah. Hii mambo ya KIMS kit tunamalizana naye hapa.
I think you can proceed to read.
Chair,
yeah.
These are your true copies. So,
yeah.
The CEO, under minute 15.11, the CEO presented at the paper giving the status of procurement of KIMS kit. No, KIMS on elections preparations. The following were highlights. Now forget about the highlights. Now go to 15.1.2, plenary made the following observations and concerns. A, you said plenary's role was that of oversight and not approvals on procurement. Matters as this, it was believed that the Secretariat had applied expertise in arriving at the decision it has made. Now that is A. Now come to B. There were concerns on value for money at the plenary. It was observed that a lot of expenditure on items that could be obtained at a lesser cost, such as training components as well as technical support, were overpriced as these were basic services. Then C, you said there were concerns that Safran Identity and Security was a technological group whose core business was in the aerospace, defense and security. It was feared that the company may not deliver on the results transmission solution component as it was going to rely on SCYTL, a company that did not believe, that you people did not believe had a good reputation. It's in your minutes. Now, I want to see how the commission came up to this decision in the end. Go to minute 15.14. Following deliberations, the presentation by the Secretariat was noted, and it was resolved that the Secretariat be allowed to continue with the procurement of the KIMS in accordance with the law. I agree. This resolution was supported by the Chairperson, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, the Vice Chairperson, Madam Consolata Maina, Dr. Roslyn Akombe, and Commissioner Margaret Mwachanya. So 4 of you. 3 of you, there was dissent to this resolution by Commissioner Professor Bigulie, Commissioner Boyo Mulu, and Commissioner Paul Kurgat for the following reasons. 1, there is no value for taxpayers' money for KIMS kit. Safran Identity and Security did not have the technological capacity to deliver, especially on result transmission, which was true. Lack of market survey could not allow one to make an informed decision. B, not satisfied with the evaluation report by the Secretary. These are your minutes. So does this mean that the Commission voted on this matter, and 4 of you went one way, 3 of you another way, and you ended up procuring KIMS kit? You will be given a chance. You have been given...
Can you put up that mic, please?
4 of you went together, 3 of you went against the matter on these grounds that have been noted in the minutes, and you ended up giving the country KIMS kit that never worked properly in the transmission result. That's my first question. When the Secretariat started conducting the procurement process for this KIMS kit, they formed an evaluation committee from the minutes. Who was in charge of that evaluation committee, and who are the members of that evaluation committee, and where are the minutes of that evaluation committee? How they
Please respond.
The price.
Please respond first. Those questions by Honorable Junet.
Commissioner Molu will have the first.
I can see he's very eager to respond. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not actually maybe first responding to the question, but remember, Chairman asked for asked not to give the full minute based on confidentiality. If we are to go the way we are going, our request is let this meeting be in camera, because now we are reading the whole minute to the public. Going to the extent.
The minutes I have read are about how you employed people. I've only read minutes on how you procured KIMS kit.
Let me finish raising my concern.
Let's hear him.
Yes, my concern is if we have gone to the extent of now telling the world who voted how, it touches on individual security and even confidentiality. It is, in our opinion, if we see the way we proceed, we have no problem committee sitting and reading the, but it should not be read to the public.
Okay.
Because now we don't know who those vendors have around. It is important we settle that way.
Yes, Honorable Tiende.
As a point of order, I think the inquiry here, the line of inquiry is about procurement. And the questions that the members are asking is whether the procurement of Safran Morpho was lawful. That's number 1. Number 2, whether even if it was lawful, we got the best deal that we could get, value for money. Article 226 requires you, but not you, Commissioner Bolu, the accounting officer, to persuade this committee on behalf of the Republic of Kenya and its citizens that we got the best deal. You remember yesterday, we were saying that our elections are easily one of the most expensive anywhere in the world. This is one of the things we are trying to get at. Now, everything that so far has been read, with respect, Commissioner Bolu, I do not hear anything that ought to be kept under wraps. If, and you are one of them, who said that I don't think this is the best deal we can get, what is wrong with knowing that you are a man of integrity?
Chairman, there's nothing wrong with that as far as